state has a haunted house attraction during the Halloween season. However, it's very rare for one to be on the water. The Haunted Majestic in Huntington, West Virginia is a boat, but is known to have a very dark past. It served as a military hospital during many wars, including World War II. And it's not only a haunted attraction in the fall, but it's also believed to be haunted by real spirits who lost their lives while on board. Hey there, Morbid Maniacs! It's time for another spooky video, a part of Vlogtober. And for tonight's spooky video, I'm going to be talking all about the Haunted Majestic. Located in Huntington, West Virginia, the Haunted Majestic serves as a fun house attraction, and it is the only haunted house in the state of West Virginia which is on a boat. It is located along the Ohio River. It is a two-story structure which has two inland river barges which are permanently hooked together. And it has a very haunting history. The haunted history began when the barges were first built in 1912 by the Majestic Steamship Line. And this was during the great colonization of the Ohio River. This was a result of the River and Harbor Act of 1910, when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was required to maintain the Ohio River deep enough to allow for cargo transport. Over the next 16 years, the barges were used to haul sand and mud, which was buried at the bottom of the river. It was during that time that the barges would pick up more than just sand. The barges would pick up possible remains of a Native American burial ground. Native Americans were said to have placed many burial grounds in that area. Those burial grounds would hold hundreds of graves which were hidden by the Ohio River. Many who worked on the barges during this time would report seeing ghostly apparitions as well as chanting deep into the midnight hours. Barges would continue being in use until 1928, when they were used for the World War II. They were considered extremely haunted by the Majestic Steamship Line's captains, and because of this were only used as last resorts when they were needed. Originally named Davy Crockett and Mark Twain when they were first constructed, they were eventually renamed during the World War II, when they were leased by the U.S. Navy to transport and treat injured soldiers during land invasions. They were placed side by side, and a two-story hospital was built onto the structure. They would be renamed the Douglas Lee and the Eugene Morris, and this was after active military veterans who were serving in the World War II. Both of these men were from West Virginia, which is where the home base of the Majestic Steamship Line owned the barges. During the war, the boat was towed away to the English Channel between England and France, where it would serve as a military hospital ship. The ship would take care of Allied soldiers who were injured during the European campaign. It is reported that more than 300 men perished on the ship, many of whom were actually paranormal investigators themselves. After the wars, the barges would remain in a single unit and be stored in a naval shipyard in Norfolk, Virginia. They would also serve during the Korean and Vietnam Wars as well, being towed during both conflicts to serve the U.S. Armed Forces. It earned the nickname the Ship of Death because of its high number of men who perished on board the span of those three foreign wars. The hauntings would grow more prominent as time went on, so much so that the Navy would terminate the lease and return the barges to the Majestic steamship line in 1978. The company had since changed hands many times and had stopped business as a steamship line many years earlier. Its heirs eventually would sell the barges to a business group in Covington, Kentucky. It would be remodeled in 1982 and would serve as a restaurant until 1996. During that time, they would become home to a paddle wheel tour boat company in Newport, Kentucky, where they would then serve as an administrative and catering office for the company until it was retired in 2018. In early 2019, the barges were purchased by a new company, ironically named the Majestic Steamboat Company, and were moved back home to West Virginia, where they were moored. The future of them would be contemplated. The new company's owners knew nothing about the steamboat's history or the original name of the boat. They had no idea that the previous owners of this steamboat had pretty much the same identical name. And after doing research with some paranormal investigators, the owners decided to preserve the steamboats, the barges. However, they would not use it for commercial purposes again. They would instead turn it into a haunted house attraction, which is now known as the Haunted Majestic. The barges would become permanently moored at the steamboat company's home at the Majestic Landing. The Haunted Majestic is owned by a married couple who had no previous knowledge or connection to the steamboat or its history. The husband was the son of Douglas Lee, and the wife was the daughter of Eugene Morris. Those were who the barges were named after. And those two, Douglas Lee and Eugene Morris, did not know each other, and they were both World War II veterans. It was named nearly 30 years before the current owners were even born. And both of them would eventually pass away of natural causes in their home state of West Virginia many years after their military service. The couple believes that they were somehow chosen to take care of the boat's future and to help preserve its past. The boat not only serves as a funhouse attraction in the fall, but it is believed to be haunted by real ghosts. And this was including during its operation as a bed and breakfast. Many who would stay on the barges during this time would report feelings of someone jumping on their beds, as well as hearing knocking on their walls and yelling, which would mysteriously come from nowhere. And some of the same items which were used in the military hospital during that time still remain on the steamboat. For example, there is a freezer which is on board where body parts that were found on the field after war were stored, as well as amputated body parts. In the morgue, the hospital would stack up to 300 bodies on top of each other. There is also an entity which is known to target females. And I did want to point this out that yesterday I filmed a part of this video at the Haunted Majestic. And while I was there, I was wearing fishnets and I kept feeling like something just kind of caressing my leg with like its hand, and also like someone like kind of doing this to my hair. And there was no one around me. Like there were people in the room with me, but no one that was like close enough to do that to me. And the largest room on the ship, which was believed to be the recovery room, is known to be one of the main hotspots for the paranormal activity. Apparitions or energies have been spotted on numerous occasions moving across the room on security cameras. Equipment is known to malfunction in this area as well, and it's believed the presence does not like being filmed. Apparitions have also been spotted on the rafters looking down at people during ghost hunts. Team members would get shoved and have scratches on them, which would appear from out of nowhere. EVPs have also been captured. Shadow figures have been spotted in the morgue area as well as walking up and down hallways. Cold spots have also been reported. The Haunted Majestic serves as a haunted house attraction in the fall, but it also holds ghost tours and ghost hunts as well. Open every Friday and Saturday night in October. Are you brave enough to enter the Haunted Majestic?
Back, 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 back. To the side behind here. 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 There isn't. There isn't. There isn't. There isn't. There isn't. So we have to learn. 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 So we have to learn.
Who else is on the ship?
Huh?
Who else is on the ship?
Should be just me and us.
There's a hell of a lot of racket just coming from downstairs.
That was the body parts freezer. That's where,
That's where I was hearing it from.
yeah, that's where literally they would find arms and legs, or if they had to amputate arms and legs, they would keep it in there. Yeah, so it's called the parts locker. Freezers from that era. They were basically soldered, or not soldered, welded into place. And through the years, instead of just replacing them, they would just repair them and recharge them and everything. Freezers are expensive.
Yeah.
This stuff is set up. Stuff is set up. Stuff is set up. Stuff is set up. This. So we trying to break this. So we trying to break this. So we trying to break this. So we trying to break. People are going to be. People are going to be. People are going to be. People are going to be.
That sounds. That sounds. That sounds.
Into like the mermaid room.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Tommy kind of heard like something, sound like chains or something rattling or something.
I thought I heard. I don't remember which room it was in, but I thought I heard like some. It sounded like somebody was like making commotion in one of the rooms.
Oh yeah, you hear that a lot on this ship, and believe me, I've spent nights alone on this ship, working. A lot of times you'll see them out the corner of your eyes, and they're just watching you. They're curious, especially down by the morgue area. That's where that one end he likes to hang out. And if you notice, that's right above them is the surgical room where the entity was watching the girls. So it's probably the same entity. It doesn't seem aggressive to me, but I'm a guy.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Right.
And you have to understand, where this was a military vessel, it's been a long time, boys. You know, that type of thing.
He's probably a bad person in life and a bad
Mhm.
person in the
Oh
spirit.
yeah. I mean, I believe when you become a ghost, you're broke down to your very essence.
Right.
Whether you're a good person or a bad person,
Murder
it's just
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it'll probably be just some fat nerds, playing around at haunted houses. That'll be about it.
Yeah, I kept hearing like something, and the dog even heard it too, because the dog was like looking over that way. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the history of the Haunted Majestic? I mean, you kind of told us a little bit, but...
Okay. Well, the Haunted Majestic started off as 2 barges. They were used for dredging the Ohio River. It was a project to make the Ohio River actually a fair way to get goods from the eastern companies, like in Philadelphia and upper West Virginia, all the way down to New Orleans. The ships were, I should say ships, they're barges. They would be loaded down with muck and mud, and one could believe that during that there was a lot of bodies in the river, be it Indian or settlers or anything. So they were really mixing up a lot of bad stuff that was going on there as far as the paranormal side of things. After the project was done, the barges were parked because they kept taking on water. They seemed to have a curse. Some people claimed that they glowed at night. Yeah, they had an eerie green glow about them. Obviously, I haven't seen that part because I'm out here on the ship a lot. So with that said, World War II kicks in, Navy needs metal, and these got leased to the Navy. I believe, according to the research we've done, these things probably served as berthing vessels at first. You know what a berthing vessel is?
I'm not sure.
Basically, when a ship is being repaired or modified, the sailors have to sleep somewhere. So this probably provided bunk space for sailors as their ships were being repaired. And, you know, starting in World War II, I think some ships needed repaired, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, just saying. Shortly after that, they were then converted into an emergency surgical vessel. Now, what they would do, they would park it outside of a battle zone, and as casualties came in, they would take them out to the barges. They would triage them, perform surgeries here, try to keep the boys alive. If they made it, they'd put them in the recovery, where we're setting. According to the floor plan we looked up, this would have been the recovery area. The other side was mostly surgical and emergency amputations and so on. That's why the freezers are on that side of the ship. With all that going on, this ship was staged as one of the many support vessels for D-Day. After the war, it was not really let go, but it was parked at Korea. It was used a little bit in Vietnam. But come around about 1975, 76, in that ballpark, it was let back into civilian use. A restaurant for a little bit. Then it became a bed and breakfast. But the problem is, it seemed like all these businesses failed quickly. And once again, that's the bad luck that came from all the way back to when they were dredging barges. It seemed like that kind of sort of went there.
Yeah.
And jumping back just a little bit, a lot of boys didn't survive when they came to this vessel for some reason. It seemed like ones they would have survived, they didn't. So they had a very low chance of surviving. Now, of course, one could say it was Dr. Mack. We won't go into that speculation. And then through the 80s, it was mostly a restaurant, 90s, and then early 2000s, the company that owned it decided it was too small. They didn't have handicap capable. If you notice, there wasn't any ramps or anything we walked through. So they just needed to, let it go. And that's where our owner, or the owner of them, the current owner, bought them. And he was going to actually turn them into a restaurant or bed and breakfast. Well, they got down here. He heard about the stories. He contacted my team, HIT. We came down, did an investigation. That's when we discovered the entities and so on. They were actually glad that someone saw them, or at least was able to communicate with them. We told the owner about it. He was really glad that they weren't, malevolent. They were actually just happy to be here. Then he hired in these engineers to move the ship to where it is now, and this is where he's going to set up the restaurant. Well, go figure. The engineer miscalculated the location of the sandbar. So when they moved the barges, the outer barge hit the sandbar at full speed and crushed the two together. That's why the roof is damaged, and you see the stage has a lean. It totaled it. The owner couldn't repair it. Just to get him down here from Newport was $30,000 right off the bat. That's just to get him here. I'm not even sure how much he gave for him. So he came back to me and my team. We were doing a little community haunted house at Chesapeake, the Ghoul School. It was a charity thing we were doing. And he saw that we were capable of putting something like this on. He contacted me, a couple of his friends who were big into haunts, and decided to turn it into a haunted house. And now here we are.
This is history. I was gonna say, like, while you were talking, I thought I heard, like, it kind of sounded like a man or something, like, make a sound. I don't know.
I will tell you that the boys on here do like the women.
Yeah,
Just to let you know.
Something like touched and grazed up against my leg or something.
Yes, and a lot of times they much prefer the women to sit in the blind box seat and so on. But come on,
Right.
that's what to them. That's an OSU show,
Have you ever had a paranormal experience on a Haunted Majestic, or do you know of, like?
Actually, yes. Normally, when I'm working down on here, putting together props and so on, I will oftentimes, by what we call the morgue area, see entity watch me from the corner of my eye. A lot of times they're standing just far enough to you can see a blurry humanoid shape, and as soon as it realizes that I'm watching it, it will actually do a quick duck to the left, like exit stage left, all of a sudden. Normally, when I'm closing the ship down for the day or night, you'll get a real heavy feeling like you're being escorted off the ship. Like someone's like, where are you going? Especially when you have the ship completely closed up and you have to go down those stairs and out the bottom. It feels literally like it's right behind you breathing. And as soon as you walk out those front doors, you're good. But up to that point, it's like it's escorting you out. I have seen things come up to my workshop. Like I thought another volunteer showed up at night to help. And I'd be like, hey, bring in that tool pouch when you come in. 5 minutes go by. I'm like, are you bringing those tools or not? And then I'll walk out. No one's been here. So yes, I have seen quite a bit on this ship.
That was another thing I was gonna ask. Is it like more like malevolent, or is it kind of like more like an innocent kind of just curious?
For the most part, it's innocent. I will tell you. Oh yeah, I will tell you. Within the last 4 to 5 tours we've had, something has been attracted to this vessel. Be it the energy that the other entities are putting off, but something seems to dark has came on the Haunted Majestic. It has attacked patrons. We've had people literally start crying, like they felt like hands went over them and started squeezing their chest. In the blind box, we get aggressive answers. That's not what we've experienced in the past. We've had sudden battery drains. Thanks to the SPADs that we use, we can actually observe 4 or 5 volts of power loss within 5 minutes. That's pretty heavy loss with our equipment. And it seems like it wants to claim the Haunted Majestic at times. We seem to have picked up something dark. My theory is it may be what my team has referred to as the Dark Man. 2 years ago, we had this was set up as a surgical ring. Well, basically the actress in here kept saying there was someone looking at her from that stairwell. And every now and then it would come out and she'd be standing like, who are you? And it wouldn't say anything. And gave her the chills. So she went into the bar area where we had someone trying to play a patron. It was another girl. And she's like, someone's in there with me. And the other girl's like, well, you can stay in here with me. And they looked and they saw something come to that doorway right at the edge and started looking at them. They called me down here and said, who did you sign down here? I'm like, no one. I didn't put anyone in the stairwell. And later on the night it happened again. Those 2 girls didn't show up the next weekend. So I put 2 different girls in here. Guess what happened the next weekend? Same reports, same thing going on. Nothing was caught on the night vision camera neither. We have a security system. We can watch about, I'd say about 60% of the ship, but it's mostly focused on the haunted trailing here. Dark Man, we do home investigations of the primary function, what we do throughout the year. we really don't go to like haunted prisons and all these pay hunts. We actually reach out and help people who are having paranormal issues. Well, along the river, since 2013, we've had numerous homes that live close to the river. And about half a dozen, we've had reports of a man watching the children in their room, usually in the corner. He's dressed all in black, like a black suit. He's got black shiny shoes. He's got black hair. And they'll even draw pictures of the black man or the dark man. And all he'll do is just sit and watch them until the parent comes by. Then they'll get up and walk out through the wall or through the door right before the parent comes in. The children get a creepy feeling like he's going to hurt them. And that's when we're called in. And my metaphysics team has done salt bridges and all that to help alleviate that. So far, it seems to work because the people haven't contacted us. So, but it's interesting that this character or entity seems to show up right next to the river. There's also been wisp along this part of the river too. You know what a wisp is, right?
Willow
Wisp, yeah, they lead you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been an orange one noted right outside here, and we actually had patrons wanting to follow it, and I'm like, don't do it. You know, it will get you in trouble.
Has anything ever followed you home?
Not me, but one of our team members, Lisa. It has caused her domestic issues. She's also one of our newest members, and she's skittish. Kind of like, you know, she's interested in it, but yeah, gets freaked out relatively easy. She has had Reiki experts help her. Some has actually refused to do Reiki on her because of it. We have our metaphysics guy, Chris. He has prepared several solutions, and we have been able to get it combed off her aura, he claims, because they like to stick onto your aura, kind of like a tick on a dog. And he is capable of scraping that aura. He can actually, he claims he can see aura colors. And if you don't believe me, if you ever see him and you come to one of our tours, he'll creep you out. He'll take his hands and do this little number,
Right.
and he'll be like, yeah, your stomach's been hurting you. Oh man, that elbow's got some arthritis in it. You probably take some naproxen, and they'll freak out. They will actually freak out and run. And he's actually said, do you know you're pregnant? And the girl's like, what? And sure enough, we get contacted like a week or two later, and she's pregnant.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, so we save money on the pregnancy test with the team. No.
Can you tell me a little bit about like the hot spots, which you kind of did a little bit, but like tell the
Audience?
yeah,
Okay.
tell my audience.
Okay, well, we're in one of the bigger hotspots right here. We call it the stage area, sometimes room 201, because we, try to give rooms numbers instead of names, because, well, the room changes every year or so. But this location where we're setting, equipment is notorious for being shut off. Not power drained, actually shut off. Did you see our video when we did the global ghost hunt?
I don't think I did.
Okay. Well, in this very room, we were doing the blind boxing with a team member and so on. All during the time we were on the air, the SOS refused to work. Refused to work. The projector, and as soon as they said, okay, we're done with that, and we started to end the session, everything came on. The SOS, all that. It's like, see, we'll do what we want on this ship. Down below us is room 101. We've gotten intelligent pneumatic responses with our Obelisk M, which anyone who uses the Obelisk M pneumatic mode knows that it sounds like the old Bugs Bunny character going, that, when he's like scared. Honestly, listen to it sometimes, it's kind of like that. And we've actually got clear crisp answers from that. Probably the third most haunted spot is over what we call the surgical room. The surgical room is where a shadow being, or at least an entity that is pretty dark, likes to watch and follow people. We have had EVPs that's occurred there and some laser grid activity. So yeah, that's probably our third most haunted area.
What is your personal favorite part or room in the Haunted Majestic? Like as the haunt or...
Okay, you have to forgive me. I oversee the whole thing.
Right.
But if I had to choose, my favorite part would be the furnace room area. That one has completely been under my control. I've made it to where one person can handle about a quarter of the ship through controls. I mean, I love throwing steam on people, blinding them with sound and lights. It's just a fun little area, and you know, you got plenty of toys to play with in that one section.
Is there like anything else that you would like to tell me about the Haunted Majestic, or is that pretty much sum up?
Well, it sums up most of it. I would say that, you know, if you ever come to the Haunted Majestic, like any ghost hunt anywhere, I mean, there has been nights where it's been completely silent, very quiet. And then there's been nights where, I mean, you think to God that, you know, you're going to have the poltergeist characters come out and, you know, and you're screaming, you know, you move the tombstones and not the bodies. I enjoy the haunt, you know, the haunted house aspects of it all. It's almost like a home away from home for me here. I'm comfortable in here. However, most people that come in here and I leave them alone, they get really skittish really quick and they get lost really quick. They can easily get turned around.
And I just keep feeling like somebody like grazing up against my leg or like
They like you.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already and become a morbid maniac. Also be sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And I will see you all in my next one.